is Write Yourself Up. I was going to say it's the first episode, but technically it's the second, since for the first episode I interviewed Hannah Williams. She's a Glens Falls, New York artist and muralist, and I'll include the link below if you want to check that out. But I shared our conversation over a month ago, so time is wild and it's an illusion, but here we are. Anyway, hi, I'm a recovering podcast host. Maybe that's dramatic, but that's how it feels. I wrote, hosted, and produced the WGY and iHeartRadio podcast Upstate Unsolved. That started in 2019, and I genuinely fell so hard and fast for the medium. I had already been consuming a lot of different podcasts, mostly true crime, hence Upstate Unsolved, but I loved it so much. But life, aka finances, and the COVID-19 pandemic led me to leave iHeartRadio and the radio industry and move into marketing. And when I left iHeartRadio, I also kind of left behind my passion for podcasts, consuming and making. To this day, the highlight of my career has been bringing the stories of Suzanne Lyle, Ruth Whitman, and Catherine Blackburn into the spotlight. I was honored to work with an incredible team of people from the Cold Case Analysis Center at the College of St. Rose and law enforcement officials with the New York State Police, with Colony PD, and the Albany Police Department. The series lasted for 2 seasons and can still be listened anywhere you can find podcasts. Being a radio reporter honestly feels like a lifetime ago, but I loved it, deeply. But once the pandemic hit and the world turned upside down, there just wasn't time to dig into cold cases and cover the stories like I wanted to. And being plugged into the news cycle 24/7 really took a toll on my mental health. So a year and a half ago, I took my love of storytelling and switched to the marketing field. And I've been working in that sector ever since. And while I enjoy what I do, there's this radio-sized hole in my heart. I missed connecting with the community in that specific one-on-one way that only really that broadcast media can do. Hearing people's stories and writing about them, bantering with the hosts and sharing stories of my own, I loved that. And while I can't broadcast live on a 50,000 watt station anymore, thankfully we live in a world where with a little motivation, a lot of courage, you can bring a show to people wherever and whenever you want. Write Yourself Up is technically my second attempt at a podcast, but my first incorporating video. And again, as a former radio person, I've had to ignore that negative, very loud voice in my head that's basically saying, what the heck are you doing incorporating video into this podcasting medium? But here we are. And honestly, it's because of that voice of anxiety and seasonal depression that I'm doing this. And although I had many more items on my to-do list to officially launch this series, it's World Mental Health Day, so I'm saying frick it and starting. Do I know exactly the format of these episodes? No. Am I confident in my ability to reach people I don't know and form a connection authentically? Well, the anxiety says no, but my track record of doing just that says I might be able to handle it. So to everyone watching, my loved ones, friends, acquaintances, and people I haven't met, thanks for giving me a chance. I really appreciate it. I hope that I can be a source of joy, light, or whatever adjective I can't really think of right now into your day just by tuning in. Now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about today's topic, which is journaling. When I saw last night that today was World Mental Health Day, I knew that if I could get my butt in gear and say bye anxiety and get this podcast launched today, that I really needed to talk about journaling because it's been the catalyst to me really taking control of my mental health. If you didn't gather, well, from my entire being and what I shared, I've had a long history with mental health. To summarize, both sides of my family have a history of anxiety, depression, addiction, and other DSM-5 recognized mental health issues. I'm also a child sex abuse survivor, and I've attempted suicide. I have PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and from the age of 15, doctors put me on a cocktail of hormones, SSRIs, antidepressants, antipsychotics. So basically, mental health and I have been going round and round for like a long time, 28 years to be exact. But today, I'm a little over 2 years medication free. That's a fact I'm really proud of. Of course, that's not saying that if you take medication, that's a bad thing or you shouldn't, but for me, I'm really happy that I'm not medicated. For over a decade, different doctors would just experiment with me. I felt like a guinea pig. So my developing brain never really got a chance to just figure life out and figure itself out and naturally work. So being able to get through life on my own synapses and hormones and chemicals is something I'm really, really grateful for. But although I'm chemical free, there are things in my life that I treat like medication. Yoga is a big one. Being able to link my body and my mind together, breathing through the difficult poses and accepting where I'm at with, warrior or bridge pose or crow, and checking in with how I'm feeling or how not great my pose is going or how great my pose is going. It just kind of is a great touch point for how I'm feeling that day. They say movement is medicine, and that's definitely something I agree with. I can tell when it's been a few days, and so can my partner. If I haven't done yoga in a bit, it's like, ooh, what's going on? Time to get to the mat. But it's journaling that is a practice I've been doing since I was a kid. I'd stay up way past my bedtime, scribbling my thoughts and feelings and reflections on the day into my diary. My favorite was a rose-scented, cute little journal that I got from the Scholastic Book Fair, and honestly is probably the best thing I've ever bought. I definitely didn't realize at the time just how much of an emotional release that was every time I put pen to paper. As kids, we just instinctually do things that bring us joy or speak to our soul, and then when we hit teenage years and young adulthood, we kind of get separated from that. And then as we get older, we have to work to find those things again. We just get very disconnected from those innate abilities and truths that we know help us. And so again, we just have to go on a journey to find them. And that definitely happened to me. I was hospitalized for suicidal thoughts, OCD, and just a constant crushing sense of dread 3 times during my high school career. The third and final time, I actually attempted suicide. I took a whole bottle of Advil in a clear cry for help. I remember lying down after, just wanting to go to sleep and not wake up, when I heard the voice, "Get up, get up, get up." So I did. I had to tell my dad what I did, and honestly, the look on his face is something I'll never forget, and I still just feel so bad that I put my parents through that, and I'm grateful for having such a strong support system at a young age that helped me to be able to do work on myself and grow and not let that be who I was forever. After a night in the hospital, I was taken to Four Winds, again for the 3rd time. That's in upstate New York if you're not from this area. It was my 3rd time, as I said, and I was so over it. I didn't want to be there, but I also didn't have a choice. I knew what to expect: scheduled days, group activities, mandatory room time, lots of food, and the occasional one-on-one therapy session. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to go back. But it was the 3rd year in a row, and I found myself there, and I was just hopeless. But then I had a visitor, the pastor from my community church. She hugged me, told me that she loved me, that God loved me, and gave me the best gift I've ever received. A beautiful journal with a gorgeous tree drawn on the front. It was bounded in like that fake kind of leather pleather, but like plasticky. I don't know. It was just one of those really awesome journals that you get from like Barnes and Noble that you just almost don't want to write in because they're so pretty, but also that's what they're there for, so write in them. As she gave it to me, she told me to just make it my own, to fill it with whatever I wanted, words, mixed media, whatever spoke to me. Just pour my feelings out and know that God was reading them. And not in a creepy way, like in a helpful way. And it was because of that journal that I got out of Four Winds. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that just to say it. This is something I've said for years. That journal is the reason why that third and final time at Four Winds was my last time. It got me out. It literally got me out. That third stint in Four Winds was my shortest, which terrified my parents. They felt like it wasn't enough time. I had just tried to kill myself. What do you mean you're sending my 16-year-old daughter home to us? What are we supposed to do with her? But that journal was the medicine that my soul needed for a very long time. And I found myself again in those pages. I wrote myself out. I unraveled the innermost thoughts and turbulent emotions, unlocking an understanding about myself so that I could move forward. I have a lot of thoughts about Four Winds and the way this country treats mental health, but at the end of the day, I was given my first step toward actual healing, and that was in the form of that journal. A lot of life has happened in those past 12 years, but journaling has been a practice I repeatedly turn back to. It was instrumental when I recovered repressed memories of being abused as a kid, and it was sanity saving when I left an evangelical cult and got divorced at 25. And now, at 28, with countless journals filled with breakthroughs, observations, hurts, struggles, joys, celebrations, reflections, from a consistent journaling practice, I can't imagine doing life without it. If I go a few days without carving out time to put pen to paper, that anxiety and depression like to wiggle themselves back into my head. And that's just not a mental space that I can stay in. I was sharing my reflections about the vital role that journaling plays in my life with my therapist of 16 years actually, which is just crazy to think about. But it was a few months ago, and she asked if I would be interested in teaching a course about the practice. It's funny because I've been wanting to help people tap into the benefits of a journaling practice, but I didn't really know how to start, which is a theme when it comes to me. So when she offered up her multi-purpose room, I couldn't turn it down. In a little over 2 weeks, on Tuesday, October 25th, I'll be hosting a journaling workshop at True North at 499 Glen Street in Glens Falls. You'll be able to learn about how you can incorporate this practice into your life. We'll do a guided meditation to get us into that flow state. A notebook and a pen and some light refreshments are included. If you're interested, I'll include a link below. So on this World Mental Health Day, regardless if you have a diagnosis or not, mental health is health. We're all affected and it needs to be tended to. We all have days where life is just friggin' rough, where we don't want to get out of bed and we don't know how we're gonna go on. Honestly, that was me yesterday and the day before that, and honestly, the day before that. But this helped me get through it. This helped me get here. This helped me get back to me. It reminds me who I am. So maybe I'll see you in a couple weeks. And if not, no worries, but you should definitely still start a journaling practice because it's so great. In closing, I will be ending these episodes with an oracle card reading. I used to do these on my Instagram, but I just haven't in the past few weeks, so I want to get back into that, and I figured this is a great place to do that. So we are doing a pull from the sacred? I used to get paid to talk for a living, and I feel like I just forgot how to do all that, so forgive me for stumbling over my words, but it's the Sacred Earth Oracle. Don't know if you can see that, but here it is. So yeah, let's see what we've got. Okay. The card that came up is Space. It's also the last card in the deck, so I don't know. I find that interesting. Whatever. So the earthly meaning. Give yourself or someone else the space to heal, think, create, or contemplate. Hold space as a gentle, non-judgmental, and supportive presence. Nothing needs to happen instantly. Pull back, trust, and respect the boundaries and processes of others. Pushing for a result will not get you what you want in the long term. Choose your destiny and let others choose theirs. The spiritual meaning. Across space and time, multi-dimensional worlds exist beyond human concepts of love, hate, right and wrong. Bliss, creativity, and infinite peace are tucked away in the hidden dimensions of our souls where all is possible and all are welcome. Childlike innocence, curiosity, and a little dreaming are all it takes to reach these worlds. Close your eyes and be there. Or start writing yourself there. The insight. The pinpricks of light that pierce the blanket of night are concentrated pockets of something in a universe that is mostly nothing. There are countless galaxies and stars, but what there is much more of is vacant space. It is said that atoms are mostly empty space, but we can readily observe the space inside an atom as different to the space around it. Space exists within and without an object. It is a container and a boundary. Without space, there would be no separation. The entire universe would be one solid mass. There would be no growth, no change, no evolution. Planting seeds in their own space ensures they have access to the nutrients, light, and water they need to thrive. Space gives us room to know who we are, within but separate to the world around us. Yes, we are all from the same infinite source and part of a complete and magical universe. But we are also complete and magical beings of our own. Space empowers us with boundaries, individuality, and freedom. Respecting these gifts honors all of creation. Yeah, so take the space for yourself to reconnect with that childlike wonder inside of you that we all have. And I don't know, maybe pick up a pen and paper and start filling that space with the thoughts and reflections that go through your head throughout the day and get back to yourself. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Write Yourself Up, and happy World Mental Health Day. Bye.